Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally filming my pregnancy number 2 Q&A. I had all intentions of filming this video in the first trimester. Now we are well into the second trimester and here we are finally filming the first trimester. I don't know where it went. It just kind of got away from me. So today's just going to be more of like a chit chat, chill, cozy vibe video. Feel free to pause this video at any time, get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack. I feel like this is going to be a very lengthy video. I asked you guys on Instagram to send me some pregnancy related questions and I have so many awesome ones to answer and so many that overlapped. There were some questions that were asked like a bajillion times, so I will make sure to answer those and answer as many of them as I possibly can. As always, I have no order for this video whatsoever. I just screenshotted all of the questions and I'm gonna be answering them from top to bottom, so they're probably not gonna go into a very logical order. However, I feel like the most logical question to answer, which I received so many times, shockingly, not the most popular question, but a question that I received so many times was, when am I due? So I'll answer that one first and then I will open up my little phone calendar page wherever I have all of those questions and I will answer the rest of them. So let's start off with question number 1. When am I due? I am due December 5th, which is quite magical. I feel like the worst Disney fan in the entire world because it didn't even dawn on me until an internet friend reached out to me when I mentioned it on Instagram previously and they were like, oh my god, that's Walt Disney's birthday. What? Like, how freaking magical. Baby number 2 is due on Walt Disney's birthday, December 5th. Like, how stinking magical. Not saying I'm going to go on my due date. With Landon, I was a full week late, a full 7 days late. I do hear with baby number 2, you go earlier, but you can also go later. Who really knows about your body? However, to answer question number 1, I am due December 5th, 2021. Okay, so I have all the questions screenshotted and saved to an album on my phone, not a calendar. I'm pretty sure in the intro I called it a calendar, and if that is not pregnancy brain in a nutshell, I don't know what is. So again, I have them all screenshotted, and shockingly, the first question in logical order that I screenshotted, I already answered. It said, when's your due date? Which again is December 5th. So let's move on to the next question, which is, are you hoping for a girl or a boy? Are you wanting a brother for Landon? This is going to be the most generic answer ever. I know pretty much anybody who gets these questions will answer it the exact same way, but this is my answer. I want a healthy, happy baby. I don't care if it's a boy, I don't care if it's a girl, I just want a healthy, happy baby. I will be very honest with you. Since I decided I wanted to be a mother, even into childhood, I've always wanted to have a girl. And then we had Landon and I realized boys are the freaking best. I love being a boy mom so much. Like, boys are honestly just the best. I'm sure if I had a girl the first time around, I would feel the exact same way that I do about having a boy, but with a girl. But I will tell you from experience, being a boy mom is the best. So if I happen to have another boy, I will be so happy. If I happen to have a girl, I will have one of each and I will be really happy as well. But yes, I don't really care what the gender is. I just really want a healthy, happy baby. I think Landon would be equally as excited with a brother as he would be with a sister. Now let's move on to question number 3. How has Landon reacted so far? Do you think he will be excited and will adjust well to the baby? So this is one of my biggest concerns right now. Honestly, Landon has been doing amazing. We talk about baby all the time. Anytime we're doing anything, if we're cooking as a family, playing in the playroom, taking a shower together, whatever we are doing, we always involve baby. So if we are making homemade pasta, like the other day we had a homemade pasta night and we made homemade pasta as a family and we just involved baby, like, oh, baby's making pasta too. And then we asked Landon at the end of the night, we're like, did you have fun making pasta? Who did you make pasta with? And he was like, I made pasta with mama, baby, dad, Jax, which is our pit bull. So he's very excited. He kisses kisses baby goodnight pretty much like every single night. He talks about baby, he asks to hug baby. I think when baby is here, obviously it's going to be an adjustment. Right now it's just this thing in mommy's belly, and he sees that mommy's belly is getting bigger, so it's definitely going to be an adjustment. And I'm going to film an entire video in my 3rd trimester about things that we did with Landon that we will still be doing with baby number 2, and things that we're going to change, and what we plan on like anticipating this time around, and how we try to do like the adjustment and the transition from like 1 baby to 2. So I could go very in depth with that, but I will answer this question by saying I think Landon is very excited. He is very, very much aware that there is a baby inside mommy's belly. We have like these little dolls that we get from our Love Every subscription kit, and we use these a lot around the house, and we just kind of like act like a baby. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, this is how mommy's gonna hold baby, can you show me how you're gonna hold baby? And he will try to replicate it, and it's really, really sweet. But I also understand that he is going to be under 3, and there's going to be some jealousy, so looking for all the tips and tricks, guys. But I think we have a pretty decent hold on what we're going to do to make sure that if he is jealous, he knows that he's still valued and loved just as much as he was before. But I think that that is definitely one of my biggest concerns right now. It's a thing that's kind of like weighing on my heart the most, is how are we going to do this so that everything that we did with Landon, we can still do with baby, like give baby just as much attention as we have been giving Landon, and how can we continue to give Landon the attention that he needs, wants, and deserves when we have another one at home that is going to be very much dependent. So great question, guys. Leaving a lot of question marks inside of my head right now. Just now realizing that I did not proofread these questions as best as I possibly could have. I'm having a lot of overlap. For example, the next question, what is your plan for juggling a toddler and a newborn? I did just kind of touch upon that, but again, if you guys are interested, stay tuned for a more dedicated video on that topic in the 3rd trimester. I have a lot of thoughts in my head right now, but I really want to make a cohesive list and make that video like very organized, because I have a lot of thoughts on that topic. But I'm also doing a lot of research in between that I'm going to try to kind of figure out my whole plan. So there will be a dedicated video for that coming, not super soon, but soon enough. Next question, what theme will the nursery be? I think most of you guys already know this if you follow me on Instagram, but we are going to be doing a Winnie the Pooh theme. So excited about that. If you guys have not seen my son Landon's nursery tour, I will link that in the description below. It is very minimal. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't really enjoy nurseries, my personal preference, where it looks like that theme kind of like threw up all over the room. I feel like with Landon's Toy Story theme, it is very minimal, it's very simplistic, but it gets the job done. Whatever Landon's room looks like, we're pretty much just going to replicate in the other room, because it is a mirror image of Landon's nursery, Landon's room, and we're going to just do Winnie the Pooh instead. So instead of doing all of the Toy Story stuffed animals on the shelves, we're going to be doing Winnie the Pooh. Instead of doing the Toy Story mobile, if that's what it is even called, we have like a Winnie the Pooh colorful one inspired. So I will be filming that towards the end of my 3rd trimester, but the nursery theme will be Winnie the Pooh, and I'm so stinking excited. What will your maternity leave look like this time versus with Landon? This is a touchy subject for me. So if you guys are unfamiliar, if you are new here, I am a teacher. I have been teaching for 11 years. I'll be going into my 12th year next year, which is so stinking wild. I am a teacher who hardly takes any sick time at all, unless I'm like actually really sick and I need to take it. I don't just take it to have like a day off. I've saved pretty much all of my sick time since I have been teaching, which was like, I think I started in 2010 is when I started subbing, and all of those sick days actually rolled over from when I got hired. So when I had Landon, I had like 120 something sick days. I think it was like 110 sick days, and I didn't use every single one of them because I wanted to save some for baby number 2, and I also wanted to save some for in case I ever get sick or baby ever gets sick. Landon is the one that I'm talking about. So I wanted to hold some sick time over. So I think when I had Landon, I used 90 sick days. Well, when I got pregnant with Landon, it was only 3 years ago, and I haven't been able to accrue as much sick time. I did take 10 months off with Landon, so I got paid for 90 days, and then the rest of the time I just took off without pay, which I don't even want to say it was like a huge struggle, but we definitely had to like figure out our finances a little bit more, because there was a period of 2 or 3 months that I didn't get paid at all. I didn't receive a paycheck at all, which is not really fun, to be quite honest with you. This time around, I really want to take close to as much time off as possible as I can with baby number 2. You just will never get that time back, and I know for me personally, I will regret it so hard if I have to go back right after my maternity leave. Luckily with teaching, it is in our contract that we can take up to 2 years off without losing our jobs. So you can take up to a year off and still be guaranteed your classroom. You can take up to 2 years off and still be guaranteed your position. So if I was ever to take 2 years off, which I wouldn't, I would still be guaranteed to have a job in the district that I teach in. It just might not be in my classroom. I might be displaced. With Landon, like I said, I took 10 months off. For this baby, the goal is to take 8 months off. So I am due December 5th. If all goes well and I go close to that due date, I will take the rest of the school year off and then into the summer, and then I will go back in September, 2022. The only thing is, I'm only gonna get paid, I think at this point time around, I only have like 45 sick days, and I can't use every single one of them. I have to, of course, save at least like 8 to 10 of them for, God forbid, if I get sick or anybody in the family gets sick that we need to do like child care for. So we're looking at like 35 to 45 sick days, 50 tops, because I am gonna get some for next year as well. I am not gonna get paid for so many months. But it's just, you know what, like that is life, and we are already like talking about our finances, and Adam is talking about just working like a little bit of overtime at his job, and anything that I'm making off of sponsorships right now, which I'm so lucky to still be getting, because my channel as a whole, it obviously looks very different like view-wise, which I'm completely fine with. I've accepted it, and I actually really like where my channel is right now. But the money that I was making on YouTube when I was pregnant with Landon looks nothing like the money that I'm making on YouTube now. So even when I was off for those couple of months with Landon that I wasn't getting paid from teaching, and this is just full disclosure, I'm just trying to be very transparent with you, I still was getting paid from YouTube quite handsomely. My channel was doing really, really well at that time. Right now, I still am getting paid through YouTube. It just looks nothing like it did 2 or 3 years ago. So I still am getting a little money, some monetary gains from YouTube, but it is nothing like what it was when I was with Landon, and that's why I'm so grateful. And you guys have been so accepting when I do sponsorships. I know this sounds like the perfect opportunity to be like, and today's video is sponsored by, but it's actually not. Today's video is not sponsored at all. But I did just want to be very, very transparent with you guys. I really just want to take a moment to thank you guys also, because I know when influencers, I hate that word, YouTubers, bloggers do sponsorships, it's kind of a turnoff for so many people. But I think as a whole, my audience has just been ridiculously accepting of the fact that I have done sponsorships. So I don't know how I got into that right now. I think what I'm trying to say is I'm going to take almost just as much time off as I did with Landon. With Landon, I got 10 months. With this baby, I'll have just about 8 months. A lot of it's going to be unpaid teaching wise, and maybe I'll make a couple more sponsorships. Anything that I'm making off of sponsorships right now is really just going right into the bank, and we're just saving it for our future. So I will be taking a decent amount of time off, and I'm very grateful that I have a job that even allows that. I know that there are some jobs in the United States that you only get 3 months and you have to go back. If you don't go back, you lose your job. So with teaching, we're very lucky that in our contract we get that extended time. Wish it was all paid, but it's not, and that is okay. So yeah, that was a really lengthy answer. I'll be taking about 8 months off. I'll get paid for about 3.5 months, and the rest will go unpaid. Please watch all my ads. No, I'm just kidding. But also, please do watch all my ads. Pause. This is your sign to go get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack, get cozy. I really try not to talk like so extensively, but your girl has a problem and I just don't know how to shut up. Most of these answers would probably take about under a minute to answer. I'm pretty sure I've been taking 3 to 5 minutes per question. So again, this is just your sign to pause the video, go get cozy, get a snack, get a drink, because if you're interested in finishing the rest of this video, we might be here for a while. I have no self-control. Also, feel free to listen to this video in the background more as like a podcast if you are interested again in finishing the rest of this video. Let's move on to the next question. Is there anything you want to do different with this pregnancy? Oh my word. Okay, so this one I guess is not in parenthood, it's more like in a pregnancy, and I don't really want to do too many things differently. I would say the biggest thing that I want to do differently in this pregnancy than when I was pregnant with Landon would be just to be active and to work out. I can tell you from experience, I think I worked out a grand total of 3 to 4 times when I was pregnant with Landon, and working out is kind of like a stretch of the word. I should just say active with Landon, because I wasn't even walking, I wasn't moving my body a lot. I had a really tough pregnancy when I was pregnant with Landon, physically, emotionally, and mentally. This time around, I am trying to be active and trying to work out and eat healthier this time around, and I would say that it has made all the difference. This pregnancy is so different from my pregnancy with Landon. I don't know if it's just that I am like forced to be active because I have a toddler at home, but I'm definitely eating a lot healthier, and I'm also definitely indulging as well. But I'm being active like 3 to 5 times a week, whether it is just going for like a 2 to 3 mile walk, whether it is going for like a 1 to 2 mile run, whether it is just moving my body. I'm just being a lot more active this time around. And again, I have a toddler at home, so I'm constantly moving, and I will tell you that that has done wonders on my mental health this pregnancy. Hormones, I'm gonna swear right now, and I've never swore on this channel before, but hormones deserve this. Hormones are a bitch. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Again, I don't swear on this channel, but that deserves a swear word, because hormones are a mother and a half, and I can tell you that it can take a person's mood from like 0 to 100 in like 2.5. With Landon, I was just very emotional, I was very hormonal, I just felt super sluggish, I was just not in like the very best mental state. I was more than happy and more than excited to know that I was going to be a mom, but pregnancy is just, it's just very hard sometimes. And with Landon, I had a very emotionally, mentally hard pregnancy. This time around, I feel amazing. Knock on wood. I feel so good this pregnancy, and I hope that it keeps up. And I think a large part of that is I'm eating a little bit better while still indulging, but I'm also being very active. In the beginning of my pregnancy, I was still running like 2 to 3 miles, and I did clear that with my midwife, and she completely cleared it for me to run in this pregnancy. Now, I actually did it yesterday, and I could only run like a mile. Once I started getting winded, I of course stopped because safety first. My midwife did suggest, like, while you are running, try to like hum or sing a verse of a song, and if you can do it perfectly, of course you're gonna be breathing a little bit heavier, but if you can do it no problem, you're doing fine. If you're like really out of breath, then you're exerting like too much energy. So that's kind of the rule of thumb that I've been using, and recently I've only been able to do 1 mile run, and then after that I'll do like a mile or a mile and a half walk. Today, I actually just only walked, and it felt really nice. I feel like I got the job done, but it wasn't as exerting on my body. So yeah, I think that's a huge part in this pregnancy. I'm just trying to A, work out, stay fit, be healthy, be active, eat a little healthier, and then something completely off of that topic, something that I'm really trying to do a little bit more of is document this pregnancy, even if it's not for like Instagram or for social media, but just for me. With Landon, again, I just didn't feel my very best physically, mentally, emotionally, just hormonally. I wasn't feeling my very best. I didn't think that I looked all that great. It was a lot. This time around, I really just want to document it. So whether it is taking a picture of me and my hair is a complete and total hot mess and I have no makeup on, I just want to document it a little bit more. Whew, that was a mouthful. Exactly why I just said to go get a snack or get a drink. Are you planning on doing a Disney themed nursery? Yes, Winnie the Pooh. Are you going to find out the sex this time? Okay, spoiler alert, this was the most popular question that I received. I would say every other question was this question: are you going to find out the sex this time around? And the answer is no. I know people get like not offended by that, but they're like, oh my god, I could never, like, how in the world can you do that? It is just never been part of my plan to find out the gender. I will tell you that surprise of when your partner or when the doctor or whoever it is that is in the room with you tells you it's a boy or it's a girl, I get goosebumps thinking about it. I still replay that moment in my head of when my husband told me that it was a boy, and he was like, it's a boy. We had a boy. And the feeling that took over my body, the feeling of just pure bliss, I replay that at least once a week in my head. I just replay the entire scenario, and it is the best surprise in the world. I know a lot of you guys will agree with me if you guys don't find out the gender yourselves, but there is just so few surprises in the world left, and that is a surprise that is just so precious and so beautiful, and oh, there's no other words for it. It is just the most beautiful surprise in my personal opinion. So we will not be finding out the gender. We will find out the gender at birth. I personally think that I'm having a girl this time around because this pregnancy is just so different, but we will not find out the gender. I will also tell you that I completely do not agree with any of those old wives' tales of like finding out the gender. I think it's complete baloney. I didn't want to find out the gender from the start with Landon, and all my family like wanted to know what I was having, and they're very much into like those old wives' tales. So they would constantly do all the things, hold the string, count things over here, do things with your head, like any of those old wives' tales. I'm pretty sure there was one that involved like an onion, and every single one of those old wives' tales told me that I was having a girl with Landon. I had a boy, so I just don't believe in them at all. And this is also like a little memory for me. It's kind of like a really sweet thing for me. With Landon, I just never wanted to find out the gender. My husband really did. Like, he really wanted to find out the gender, and he decided he knew it was something that was really special to me and something that I really wanted and felt strongly in my heart about. So he decided not to find out the gender with Landon. When we went to our first ultrasound, luckily they're allowing partners to go into the ultrasounds now due to COVID. I'm so happy that he can like come into the appointments with me now, especially when it comes to the ultrasound ones. And the ultrasound tech was asking us like, are you gonna find out the gender? And he was the first one to say, no, we're not gonna find out the gender. And I did promise him with the first pregnancy, if he allowed me not to find out the gender for the first one, I would consider not finding out for the second one. So as much as it would have pained me to find out the gender this time around, if it's something that he really wanted, he took that really big sacrifice the first time, and then he was the first one to tell the ultrasound tech like, we're not going to find out the gender. And I looked at him and he's like, yeah, I was really against it at first. He's like, but she's right, like, you will never get that surprise back in your entire life. Like, you will never get that moment back ever. And let me tell you, we are so excited to not know the gender. So to answer that question, we're not finding out the gender, but I think it's a girl. Clearly these questions are quite old. I think I pulled you guys on Instagram in like the middle of May maybe, because this next question is, when will you tell your students I'm 17 weeks and haven't told them yet? Well, our last day of school was June 25th, so hopefully I told them already, which I did. I told them towards the end of May, and I ended up finding this thing on Teachers Pay Teachers. It was a cryptogram, and basically it's one of those things where you have pictures, and underneath the picture you have a letter, and then they have a whole entire like secret code on the bottom that they have to put all the pictures together and then figure all the letters, and then the little saying will come out. And I think, if I remember correctly, the saying was, your teacher is going to have a baby, and they freaked out. They are so excited. They are the cutest. I'm gonna miss them so much. They were the best. This was one of the hardest years of my teaching career. Any teachers out there, like, I feel you. This was a very tough year to be teaching. And with COVID, me being elementary school, we've been in school the entire year. We did have to quarantine 2 or 3 times, but besides that, we have been in the classroom the entire year, and I just felt so connected with this group of kids, like so connected with this group of kids, and they were so excited. Like, their excitement made me so much more excited. And just to throw this out there, if you're watching this video and you're my student, I did promise I would talk about this. My students, they don't think I'm having a girl, they know I'm having a girl, and they already gave me some suggestions for names, and the names are London or Scarlet. And if I don't name my baby London or Scarlet, I think they're going to be very angry with me. I did tell them, and like the due date when I actually have the baby, I'm gonna mass email them a picture of the baby, let them know gender, and let them know name. Sorry, it's not gonna be London or Scarlet, but they are very dead set on me having a girl, and that girl is going to be named either London or Scarlet, which I personally love the name London, but just a little too confusing with Landon and London and London and Landon. But like very creative, loving those names. And Scarlet comes from Scarlet Overkill, from Despicable 2, Despicable 3 Me, whatever one that was in, you know, it's not a vibe for me. So sorry, students, but I love your enthusiasm so much. This next question pulls on my strings a little bit. This next question is, are you going to move before or after you have the baby? Congrats, very sweet question, but it pulls on my strings a little bit because unfortunately we are not moving before the baby. It would be awesome, I cannot wait. Also, I can't even imagine trying to move from a house to another house right now, or if we plan on building in the future, I can't even imagine doing that in the second trimester. So, you know, we're just working out that whole entire plan. However, our house is only a 2-bedroom house. So, one room is for Landon, one room is for Mama and Dada. We're gonna put baby number 2 in Mama and Dada's room. And Adam and I, we're moving into the basement. That's what's going on with Adam and I right now. We're moving into the basement. Our basement is mostly finished. There's some touch-ups that we need to do, but it's mostly a finished basement. But it's a basement. So we're gonna be moving into the basement for the time being. We thought that it was more appropriate or better the baby have their own room and we move into the basement. We talked about it for a while. We're almost never in our bedroom. We're pretty much only ever in our bedroom to change or to go to sleep. So for us to move to the basement, it's really not a big deal. I'm just dreading those newborn days when baby is up constantly and we're just up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, down the stairs, but we're just making it work. Of course, for like the first 3 months of the baby's life, it's going to be with us. So whether that is us like getting a little pull-out couch and putting it into the baby's room and staying up there, or if baby's going to be with us in the basement, we haven't figured that out yet, but we will not be moving. We are hoping to move and get our forever house, whether that is building or buying or whatever it may be. We're hoping to do that within 2 to 3 years, but the time is not now. So we're moving into the basement. It's gonna be an adventure. I'm actually kind of excited about it. We're gonna do half of the basement like our bedroom, and the other half we're gonna do some of like these little cubbies over here and make it more of like a play space. So yeah, lots of videos to come on that, lots of like Reno type videos to come and before and afters, but we're not moving. It would have been epic and it would have been very beneficial if we had our forever home before baby number 2 comes, but that's life and we're just rolling with it. By the way, a lot of people have suggested, because I have talked about this on Instagram and I got a lot of questions about this, a lot of people have suggested to move the baby room into the playroom, which I am filming in right now. And girl, boy, this is my favorite room in the entire house. I have worked so hard on this playroom. This playroom, I would say, is the room that as a family we are in the most. We are in here sometimes like 2 to 3 hours a day. Landon loves this room and I hope baby number 2 loves this room as well. I would never take this playroom away. I love this playroom. So the playroom was not an option because this is the most used, most utilized room in the house. And also, it doesn't really matter for a baby room, but a lot of people reach out and they're like, don't you have 3 bedrooms? Isn't the playroom considered a bedroom? I thought so. And technically, this could easily become a bedroom. However, from like a real estate point of view, this room does not have a closet. So apparently, in order for a room to be considered a room, like if we were to sell this house, we could not say it's 3 bedrooms because this room does not have a closet. And in order for it to be considered a bedroom, you have to have a closet. And there's no closet in this room. But we could totally make this into a baby room, but we won't because playroom of my dreams. This next question is probably my biggest and probably will be my biggest WTF moment in this entire pregnancy. The question itself is very simple. It is, how did your first ultrasound go? Let's talk about my first ultrasound, and this is a story. Like, this is gonna be a little mini story time, but just wanted to throw it out there in case anybody has been through this situation before or anybody goes through this situation as well. It is so funny to me, and I need to kind of like compose all my thoughts so I can make sure I have everything together. But our first ultrasound went amazing, but it was like, come again? What did you say? So we went to our first ultrasound, and I thought that I was 4 weeks pregnant, 4 weeks pregnant, had no idea. We went to our first ultrasound, and backstory before we do this, I stopped nursing Landon around 10 months old, and this is really important to the storyline. So I stopped nursing Landon when he was 10 months old, and he turned 2 on April 30th, so he's like 2 and 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 months, whatever it may be. Ever since I stopped nursing Landon, I have been getting my period 2 times a month. Heavy periods. I've never ever experienced periods like this in my entire life. Painful periods, like hurled over, feel like I can't get out of bed, legs are tingling, legs feel like they go numb. It's just been an experience for me. So once Landon was like, I want to say I got my period after having Landon like 6 or 8 months out. After I started getting my period 2 times a month, I gave it like 2 months, 3 months, and then I called my midwife and I was like, I'm getting my period very irregularly, it's very painful. So they had me come in to do an ultrasound, and knock on wood, everything came back fine. They found like a little cyst, but it was anything to worry about, and I thought that it was just my body adjusting from being pregnant and then nursing to stopping nursing and just trying to get itself back on track. So they had mentioned, like, if it's still like this in a couple of months, contact us and then we'll do another ultrasound. Well, it didn't get better, and I want to say this was like September now. I was still getting my period very irregularly, so I went back in. It was either September or October, one of those months, and they did the ultrasound again. Everything checked out perfectly fine. My lining was fine. Still had that cyst, but it wasn't anything to worry about. It wasn't growing, and it wasn't affecting anything. So now, flash forward a couple of months, Adam and I decided that we were going to start trying again, and I was still getting my period super irregularly. So I went in for another ultrasound in February. Remember that day? Was it February or was it January? I can't even remember right now. But around that time, I went in for another ultrasound because we knew we were gonna start trying again. And I remembered at the previous ultrasound tech appointment, they had mentioned like, everything is fine. The only thing that we're concerned about is if you're going to be trying again soon, we wouldn't know like when you're gonna be ovulating. We would wanna make a plan with you. So when you decide that you're going to start trying again, make sure to come to us and we will start planning it out together and make like a little plan for you on like exactly when you're ovulating. Because if you're getting your period 2 times a month, we just want to make sure that we're like on track. So I was like, fine, no problem at all. So I went back in February because I think it was February. I went back in February and I was still getting my period 2 times a month. And I went in there, everything was fine again. I still had that cyst. And I remember the ultrasound tech being like, oh, you guys are trying again. Hopefully next time you come in here, it is because you are pregnant. So I wasn't pregnant at that ultrasound tech. Now, this year with COVID has been the craziest teaching year of my experience, of my career. I've been so overwhelmed. Well, not so overwhelmed, but it has been a lot, and your mind forgets some things. So I remember the ultrasound tech being like, no, not the ultrasound tech. After that, I went to go see the midwife, and the midwife was kind of coming up with a plan with me, and she was like, according to the last day of your period that you told us about, which I think was January, February, whatever it was. I don't really remember all the dates because it's all a blur right now. She gave me the days to start trying with Adam because those are the days that I'll be ovulating. And I remember after that, work just got crazy, life just got crazy, and we didn't have sex those days. So I was like, oh, I'm not pregnant. But rolls around March and I was like, you know what? I don't think I got my period. Like, I usually get my period 2 times a month, and I can't remember the last time I got my period. Like, I'm pretty sure the last time I got my period was February. I haven't even gotten it once in March. So I ended up calling them and they asked me what the last day of my period it was, and they were like, take a pregnancy test. I took a pregnancy test and I was pregnant. And I was like, what is even happening? Like, I just had an ultrasound appointment literally like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't pregnant, and we really didn't do what you're supposed to do to get pregnant in between that time of ovulating this time around. So they ended up making me an appointment to get an ultrasound, and it was in March. So I went in March, we sat down, we did the whole ultrasound tech. I was definitely pregnant. There was a baby on the screen, one baby on the screen, and we were asking, we were like, how far along am I? And she's like, oh, like you're 9 weeks right now. Adam and I were like, what the heck? Like, how are we 2 months and a week? Like, we went in being like, we're 3-4 weeks pregnant. And she's like, no, she goes, that's the reason why we don't schedule ultrasounds so early. Like, you were pregnant that time you had the ultrasound, it just wouldn't have shown up because it was too early. She goes, that's why anytime somebody is pregnant, we go off of the last day of their period, and we do it like 8-9 weeks out, because that's when you can see the fetus on the screen. So I know that was a very lengthy answer. The ultrasound went amazing. Everything, knock on wood, looked awesome so far for that first ultrasound. But we found out that we were 2 months and a week pregnant when we thought that we were like 3 weeks. I remember calling my mom being like, Mom, I'm 9 weeks pregnant. And she's like, what? And I was like, I know, like I'm 9 weeks pregnant. How did that even happen? So that was like the craziest WTF moment for us. We went in being like, oh, we're like in the first month of pregnancy, like so naive and so like unsure about all those things. And we walked out being like, I'm almost done with the first trimester. I didn't even know I was pregnant 2 weeks ago. Like, how did this happen? And I remember when I called for my appointment, they got me in within like 2 weeks, and I thought that was weird because when I was pregnant with Landon, it took like, I remember making the appointment and she like scheduled it 2 months out, and I was like, that seems really lengthy. I guess that's why. So that was my biggest WTF moment. The ultrasound went great. I just think it's hysterical that I just didn't get it. Like, I just totally didn't get it. Do you have a name list yet? We have a very, very rough draft of names for this baby. With Landon, we didn't pick the name until the 3rd trimester. My husband actually suggested Landon, and I fell in love. I remembered Landon Carter from A Walk to Remember, which is one of my favorite characters from any Nicholas Sparks book. So we ended up naming him Landon and Carter for his middle name, and it just stuck. And I can't even imagine not having a Landon Carter. Like, I can't even imagine Landon not being a Landon and being something else. This time around, it's a little more difficult, and we're not agreeing on as many names as we did the first time around. We have, again, a very, very, very rough draft. The lists and the names on that list, loving them so far. We just haven't come to any final conclusions yet. And of course, with not knowing the gender, it does make it a little bit harder because we have to make 2 separate lists. I will tell you the #1 name for girl for me, and we don't share this until birth, but I'm only sharing it because I know we're not using it. My favorite name that I want so bad is Luna. Like, can you even imagine it? Landon and Luna. How cute. It just flows so well. But Adam's just not into the name Luna, and I have to respect that. Although I love that name, I'm still seeing how I can like sneak that name in a little bit. But besides Luna, I would say we have maybe 3 or 4 finalists for boy and maybe like 2 finalists for girl. It's definitely a lot of work, and definitely a lot harder this time around. Next is, would you ever consider a home birth? Heck no. Absolutely never. I give so much credit and so much respect to people who have home births. It is just not at all part of my plan, like not at all. I had the best experience at the hospital that I gave birth to Landon. I felt so taken care of, and I know people who have home births are equally as taken care of. I just prefer a hospital setting. It's never even crossed my mind to do a home birth. It is just, that is not me. More power to anybody who does a home birth, but I again just had such an awesome experience at the hospital that we delivered Landon in, and I'm looking forward to round 2 with baby number 2. It was such a good experience that when they basically told us that our stay was up and we were released, is that the word? Or is it what's the word when you like get to go home? Released? When we went home, I remember looking at the nurses who treated us like actual princesses and princes, like queens and kings actually, and we looked at them and we're like, can you come home with us? Like, you're the best. They were so awesome. So I would never consider doing a home birth. I'm really looking forward to being back in the hospital setting, and more power to anybody. As long as you're having your baby healthy way, more power to you. Next question is, how many kids do you see yourself having? 2. I think we only want 2. Originally, we wanted 3, but from like a financial standpoint and just like a family standpoint, I think we've definitely come to the conclusion that we want 2. How to prevent 3? I don't want to say prevent it, but I don't know if I'm just gonna have them like tie my tubes, or if Adam's gonna get a procedure down the road, or if we're just gonna continue being safe. Of course, if we end up having 3, we'll be more than happy, but I think our plan at this point, and our plan for like the past couple of years that we've been talking about it, is that we're very happy with having 2. So we'll see what happens. Nobody knows what the future is in store, but I think our actual goal is to have 2. Do you still plan to teach after baby number 2 or be a stay-at-home mom? You know how I just said heck no to the home birth? Heck no to being a stay-at-home mom. Oh my God, stay-at-home moms deserve a medal and a half. Moms that go to work right after deserve a medal and a half. Moms, just moms, deserve a medal. I could never be a stay-at-home mom. I will tell you that those 10 months that I stayed home with Landon were some of the best memories of my entire life, but also some of the most trying as well. I just don't even know how moms do it all day, like every single day. I am definitely a career-driven person, and I love my job as a teacher. I like truly love my job teaching. It brings me a lot of joy, and I can't imagine ever giving that up. I can't. Nope, it's not for me. Stay-at-home mom is not for me. I think stay-at-home moms are so beautiful. I think working moms are so beautiful. I think moms in general are just so beautiful. But when it comes to my personal experience, I can definitely see myself retiring as a teacher or as an educator or something in the teaching school realm. I can't ever see myself like quitting to become a YouTuber full-time or quitting to be a stay-at-home mom. If you can do it, best of both worlds. I feel like I've been doing it pretty well with Landon, with teaching and momming, and I just hope to continue with baby number 2. Just here to say Taco Bell is life during pregnancy. My baby might actually be a taco. That was one of my absolute favorite responses that I received, because I remember during this I was talking about how much I wanted Taco Bell and how I've been craving Taco Bell so much, and I would say like 25% of the people that responded to that poll was talking about how much they craved Taco Bell as well. So I feel you so hard. I still have not allowed myself to get Taco Bell this pregnancy. I think I'm sharing that or saving that for the 3rd trimester, not for like health reasons, because your girl has been indulging just because I love Taco Bell so stinking much, but Taco Bell just does not love me back, and I always get sick after eating Taco Bell, and it's totally worth it. But I just don't think the 1st or the 2nd trimester is time for me to feel that level of pain in my stomach area or in other areas. So we're gonna try to save that for the 3rd trimester, but I will absolutely be getting Taco Bell. I will get my Taco Bell fix before the end of this pregnancy. How did you guys find out? How did you tell hubby? There's nothing magical about this one. I watch all these videos of like people surprising their husbands. It's just, that's not really my personality. My story, I was feeling really off for a week, like very off, and I'm so happy that that just went away. I was feeling very mentally, like I said, hormones are a bitch, and I just remember not feeling like myself, and I feel like I'm a very happy-go-lucky person, and I stopped sleeping for an entire, I want to say like a week and a half, close to 2 weeks. I had extreme insomnia, which I never do. I sleep like a baby, like I sleep very well. I was very anxious, and I haven't had anxiety, knock on wood, in a really long time. Little spurts here and there, but I wasn't feeling like anxious in this capacity in a really long time. I had 2 weeks of feeling just really anxious. I was actually starting to feel depressed inside. It's not a very magical story. If you guys are looking for a magical story, you're not gonna get it. I was just feeling very overwhelmed with life, and it just hit me like a bag of bricks, like out of nowhere. So one night I couldn't sleep. I was having an insomnia stretch. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. We had some pregnancy tests. I went to the bathroom, I peed on a stick, I found out I was pregnant. I woke up my husband at like 3:15 and I was like, babe, we're pregnant. Like, we're so pregnant right now. And I was really happy about it. And then I remember calling my midwife like the next day to schedule the appointment. And the first thing that I mentioned to her was like, I'm really feeling not like myself right now. I'm really feeling off and I'm nervous it's gonna like linger through this pregnancy. So she already like set me up with a therapy appointment, and I told her like I wanted to ride out the next week, see how I was feeling, because with Landon I definitely wanted to go to a therapist. This time around I'm all for therapy. I think therapy is so important for everyone, but I didn't want to go if it was like a hormonal thing and I was just like feeling myself again. And luckily within a week I felt completely like myself again. I don't know what the flip that was. I feel for people who go through that for their entire pregnancy. I know a couple of people in my personal life that are going through that and have went through that, like that whole anxiety and depression for that entire course of their pregnancy. Luckily, and I'm praying that it stays this way, it only lingered for like 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm already considering, just to throw this out there, I know I talked about this. Perfect timing. I'm having like a heart with you guys. I'm definitely gonna talk to my midwife after I have baby number 2. I'm gonna go to therapy for at least a month. Even if I'm the happiest person in the world after I have the baby, I just think therapy after birth is so important. So yeah, that's how I found out I was pregnant, and that's how I told Adam. Nothing magical about that story, but again, that's real life. I had to go tend to Jax for a moment, so I figured this would be the perfect time to do a little bump date. Here is the bump. I don't even want to say little bump anymore. We getting pretty big, I promise. I'm wrapping up this video. In the near future, I have a couple more questions I wanted to answer. The next one being best morning sickness remedies. I'm very fortunate that I did not have a morning sickness this time around. I did with Landon and it is rough. This time around I've been getting sick around like 3 to 4, not anymore. This was more towards like my first trimester, and I really think it's because I was just teaching all day and I wasn't eating as much as I could have, and I wasn't drinking as much water as I should have, so I was getting a little bit of sickness around 3 to 4, and my favorite things for that is ginger chews. Those really work. Crackers, like any dry salty snack. And the one that has proven to be the most successful, I actually talked to my midwife about this and she suggested this to me, and I thought it was so wacky, but it worked really well. She said to add citrus into your drink. So for me, I buy one of those little lemony type spheres that you just squeeze the lemon juice into your water, and I actually travel with that now pretty much everywhere I go. So anytime I have water, I just squeeze some in, and I thought that it would have had like the opposite effect, like the acidity in the citrus would upset your stomach, but for some reason it settles my stomach and hopefully others as well. So I would say that was the biggest thing for me when I was starting to feel a little bit nauseous around 3 o'clock. I would drink a bunch of lemon water and I would feel better almost instantly. And then along with that, the dry saltines or like the crackers, anything of that nature, and then ginger chews. Love me some ginger chews. Who will be there when you give birth? This one's kind of a touchy subject as well. When I had Landon, I had my husband and my mom in the room with me, and I don't think my mom will be able to be there this time around. My mom is literally my best friend, and I would love for her to be in the room with me this time around. Adam, of course, will definitely be there, but there's two kind of like situations with my mom. Number one, we don't know what COVID is going to be like in December, and I don't even know if they're gonna allow more than one person in the room. And also, even if they did allow her in the room, she probably wouldn't be able to go anyways, because her and my father will be watching Landon while I'm in the hospital. So this time around, it'll probably just be Adam, which is perfect. I'm actually really excited to have just like that intimate moment with Adam. Wish my mom could be there, but I'm really looking forward to just like mom and dad being there, because I'm 99.99% positive that my parents will be the ones that are going to have Landon for the night, 2 nights, 3 nights, however long it may be. So next up is, I saw you reply to a comment and you said you were taking prenatal vitamins. Did you know at that time? No, I've actually been taking prenatal vitamins for almost 4 years of my life now. I did talk to like my midwife about it, and they said it's completely fine. I started taking them about a year before I got pregnant with Landon. Then I had Landon, I took them all throughout that pregnancy. Then I was nursing Landon, so I continued taking the prenatal vitamins. And then right when I was about to get off, my midwife was like, if you're planning on trying within the next year, just stay on them. So I stayed on them because we were planning on trying. Now I'm pregnant and I'll probably be on them for the extended period of time that I nurse. If I do decide to nurse, that's a whole nother story. I don't know if I'm gonna be nursing this time around. If you know, you know. So I think I've been on prenatal vitamins for like almost 4 years. I didn't know at the time that I mentioned the prenatal vitamins, but once, if I do nurse this time around, probably not gonna nurse, but if I do, I'll continue to stay on them for that. And if not, I'll be done with my prenatal journey. Next up is, will you be breastfeeding? Since it was a struggle last time, I am currently considering stopping. Okay, I'm not giving anybody advice for this one, and I will include this in that video that I filmed in the 3rd trimester with things that we'll be doing the same and things that we'll be doing different. I don't know. I'm going to try this time around to breastfeed. If it comes easily and it works, awesome, I will do it. If not, I am stopping immediately. Again, if you know, you know, breastfeeding was the worst for me. It was just a struggle from day one, and I was so stubborn and I would not allow myself to quit. I probably should have quit after like 10 days, and instead I like forced myself to do it for 10 months. I had a goal of doing it for a year and I made it to 10 months, and it was probably the most anxious 10 months of my life. I was over the moon, blessed, happy to be a mother, but anytime I even thought about having to pump, my anxiety would completely spike. I went into like postpartum, I don't want to say depression because I don't take that word very lightly, and I know that for me it wasn't postpartum depression, but it was definitely a lot of postpartum anxiety, and it was just not a good experience for me, and I should have quit a long time ago, or stopped, not quit, because that's the worst word to use. You're not quitting. As long as you are feeding your child, you are doing the right thing, mama. But for me, it was a stubborn struggle. So this time around, I'll go more in depth in that video coming out in the 3rd trimester, but I'm gonna try it. If it works out, awesome, I'll do it for as long as I can. If it doesn't, even if like the first couple of nights are a struggle, I'm done after a week. So PS, that last answer was not me giving advice to anyone. I think that you need to find your own journey. Just from my personal experience, breastfeeding was very hard. I went to several lactation consultants. I've talked to several midwives. My journey was just a hot mess express from the start, and it never got easier and it never got better. It just got worse and worse and worse. However, I have friends that are personal friends of mine, and they breastfed for like 2 years and it was a piece of cake for them. So I think it really just depends on you as a whole. If it works really well for you and it comes easily and it is part of your plan, more power to you, mama. But if you are even considering stopping and you're feeling like it is draining, I think that you just should like weigh out the pros and the cons. For me, the cons were heavily outweighing the pros, and I think that it should be the opposite way around. So that is when I decided to stop breastfeeding, and I will tell you that the day I stopped breastfeeding and the day I stopped pumping, I just felt this weight lift right off of my shoulders. And I will tell you that my postpartum anxiety like almost flew away. Like I didn't have it anymore. So that's my experience. Let's move on to one of the last questions. The next one is, what are you craving the most and what is the first meal you want to have post-delivery? So I'm gonna go into my notes right now because I actually have been keeping a list of all of my pregnancy cravings. I want to film another one of those videos. I did this when I was pregnant with Landon where I eat all of my pregnancy cravings, and I have like a list, like an extensive list. So I'm going to share all that out with you, and then I'll tell you what the #1 craving that I have been having is and what I want my first meal to be post-delivery. So bagels and cream cheese, that has not changed since Landon. I constantly want bagels and cream cheese, French fries dipped in hot sauce, like buffalo sauce, not even hot sauce, like that creamy buffalo sauce. I could put buffalo sauce on everything this pregnancy. Whole Foods, brown butter, chocolate chip cookies, those just hit a certain way. Chicken salad sandwiches with kettle chips inside, like a very specific order. I need bread, I need lettuce, I need cheese, I need chicken salad, I need a ratio of like 50% chips to 50% chicken salad, and then bread on top. Such a craving for me. Extreme chocolate ice cream. This is the weirdest pregnancy for me, because if you know me but at all, you're gonna be like, for real, Allison? I have been craving coffee. Who even am I? I hate coffee. I hate all forms of coffee, and I have been craving iced coffee so much this pregnancy, and I've been giving into that craving and actually enjoying iced coffee. Previous Allison, not pregnant Allison, would scuff in your face at the thought of giving me iced coffee because I hate the way coffee tastes, and I have been like not even wanting it but needing it this pregnancy. I find that to be so strange. Next is clam cakes and chowder, white chowder to be specific. Taco Bell, which I haven't had yet, but I crave it on the daily. Dark chocolate peanut butter cups, party pizza, and cotton candy grapes. So go back to the party pizza. I'll insert a picture right here. This is very much a Rhode Island thing. If you're not from Rhode Island, you're like, what even is that? It's called party pizza, or it is called pizza strips, or it's called bakery pizza. It's basically just dough with sauce on it and a little bit of grated cheese. That's what it is, and it's cut into little strips. And if you're a Rhode Islander, like, you have this stuff running through your veins. It is like a staple of Rhode Island, and I've been craving it so much. But my #1 craving, I can't put it on this list because I can't have it right now, but this will be the first meal that I have post-delivery, and it is the first meal that I had post-delivery with Landon. It is an Italian grinder. I cannot tell you how much I have been craving an Italian grinder. I don't know if you guys are not from New England. I know in New England, and especially in Rhode Island, we call them grinders or grindas if you are a true Rhode Islander. Other people call them sandwiches, other people call them subs, other people call them hoagies. For me, it's an Italian grinder, and I cannot wait to have this Italian grinder. I can't have it now because you're not supposed to have a lot of lunch meats because of the, I'll put it here because I can't think right now because of pregnancy brain, but there's a reason why they don't want you to have a lot of lunch meats or any lunch meats. What is the word I'm looking for? However, I can't have it right now. This was all I wanted when I was pregnant with Landon, and this is all I want now that I am pregnant with baby #2. I cannot wait to have an Italian grinder. That will be my first meal post-delivery, and I might even ask for like 3 of them. Pretty sure I just rambled for an hour and a half to 2 hours-ish. Like, how long is this video going to be after I am done editing? Time will only tell. If you guys made it through this entire video, you are the real MVP. Do me a favor, if you made it through this entire video, it will be our little secret. Can you add a comment below with a picture of like the emoji symbol that represents an Italian grinder, whether it is a sandwich or a sub or whatever it may be. Even if they just have like a salami emoji, put that in the comments below. I think it'll be hysterical to see how many people are putting that in, and people who didn't like watch the entire video are gonna be like, why are they commenting pictures of sandwiches? I just think that would be really fun. So if you're interested, do that in the comments below. I'm going to end the video here because A, I think I've been rambling for what seems like 2 hours now, and B, I'm getting very, very hungry and I want a chicken salad sandwich. I really want an Italian grinder, but I'm going to settle for a chicken salad sandwich with chips. So if you guys are interested, I'll do another one of these in like my 3rd trimester. I'm pretty sure I'll get more questions, concerns, topics of conversation between now being in the 2nd trimester into my due date, which will be the 3rd trimester. So maybe I will do a round 2 of my pregnancy number 2 Q&A. I love you guys so much, to the moon and back. I hope that you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Adam's heart, from the bottom of Landon's heart, from the bottom of my family's heart, from the bottom of all of our hearts, for all of your well wishes that you guys have sent me on this pregnancy. Every time I go on Instagram and read like a message from you or a comment, it's just so uplifting, and I just really appreciate it, and I'm really happy to share these moments with all of you. So I hope that you're having a beautiful day. Thank you guys again so much for being so encouraging. I hope that you're having a beautiful day, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Bye guys.